Hello, guys. How are you? Just wait a few more minutes here, get some viewers in before we get started. How was your guys' afternoon? How's it going, man? Ismail, non-fungible, wonderful. Hey, man, I was watching your video today. It was really good. The one a couple hours ago. Good stuff, man. You're starting to become one of my favorites, bro. Honestly. D Tech, how's it going, man? How are you? Dominique, how's it going? Daniel White, thank you. Appreciate it. Pedro, good to see you, man. Hey, Superman. Hey, thank you, man, for your donation. I really appreciate that. The fruit punch. Yeah, it's actually water, but it's cold, so it changes the color. Yeah. So. You got the first secret rare on the Hulk drop, man. That's good. Good for you, bro. It's amazing. Well, guys, I just wanted to bring you all here to my stream. I appreciate you guys for coming, by the way. I always appreciate all the people that show up and really appreciate it quite a bit. But today is kind of a big day for me in the sense that I closed on two of my properties, two rental properties I've had, and it's kind of a relief off my shoulders. I realize that I'm not the type of guy that really wants to be a landlord. So really happy we closed today. I thought there might be some issues because I had one property, tenant moved out, no one was maintaining the property, so the grass grew really high. And with Midwest City, it's a little city in Oklahoma. If the grass grows beyond like 12 inches, they cite you and they charge me $260. And my property manager is supposed to manage that stuff for me, like take care of all that stuff so I don't have to deal with all that. But they kind of dropped the ball there. So I had to pay $260 to get that fixed. And, I talked to my property manager about it. They're like, okay, hey, that we really dropped the ball on that. We're going to give you a refund. We're going to refund you $260 since that's kind of our bad. So I was like, okay, that's great. But apparently Midwest City put a lien on my property, making sure that they actually get that money, which I already paid. But that lien was still there. So last night, the closing team for my realtor, she's like, that can hold up your closing, so I send them all this stuff, send them all this proof. So I wasn't sure. I thought it was going to take another week to close on that property, but luckily we closed today. I received the funds today. So that's really, really good. Appreciate you guys. Daniel, thank you very much. Steven, yeah. Actually, it's the first time I've closed on some properties. So Daniel White says, time to pile more OMI bags. Yeah, I did. I did make a small purchase, just a little bit. I don't know if I'm going to just pile it all in here because we're trading at 3.6 right now. So I think I might dollar cost average in because I don't want to just put it all in at 3.6. And what if it actually goes to 2.5 before we have immutable migration or something like that? And I generally believe in dollar cost averaging. I never believe I can time the market in any way. And I might use some of the funds as well to, I got some Solana too. So that was kind of nice. I've been wanting to get into Solana. Jonathan says, why is that a law? Too tall grass? Yeah, it's so they can enforce these codes, these municipal codes, to make sure people are maintaining the property. That's really one of the only legal ways to make sure people maintain their properties. And people have tried to fight precedents on this, like people have let their fees just pile up, $20,000, $30,000, and they've tried to fight it in court and they've lost every single time. So you don't really want to mess with the city, I guess. Foo says $700,000 until I reach 1 million Omi. That's a great goal. If you saw my stream, actually today, this afternoon, early this afternoon, you would have seen that 700,000 Omi is actually pretty good. Actually, 1 million Omi is really, really good. So there's that. So I just wanted to show you guys some of these properties and also talk about real estate in general. Like a couple years ago, I started to really get into real estate. I was like, man, that's the way to build wealth. I mean, I had a little bit of crypto and I was doing that, but I was like, man, I want to get into the real estate game. So my goal was to buy one rental property, sometimes two, every single year, with the goal of getting about 20, maybe 30 properties within 10 years and then retiring. Because if you got the cash flow for 20, 30 properties, I mean, that can be quite a bit of money. I mean, you can easily have like 125, $50,000 off of rental income alone. So that's what I was trying to do. But what I realized is, if you go on YouTube and try to find some how to get into real estate, you'll have all these influencers pushing like rental properties, and that's the way to make a bunch of wealth. And, it's pretty easy. You just put some money down, get a rental property, hire a property manager, set aside some funds for maintenance and things like that. But it's not as easy as they will make you believe. So I'm just getting some of my sheets ready. I just want to show you I forgot I wanted to show you guys kind of some analysis on some of my properties. So is that a good one? That's not a good one. So let me put that together. Okay. So is that a good one? That's what I was going to show you. Now there's another one. I'll show you a better one. Let me try to find it. This was a better property. Okay. So I'll show you that a bit later. So I'll show you guys the houses. So how did I get into these properties? Well, really there's no easier way. There's no other way except to just have cash. You just have to have cash. And so the goal is you want to get a cash flowing property. So the goal is, you want the property to be about, I don't know, anywhere from $50,000 to maybe $125,000. And the goal is for every one, you want to get the 1% rule. So if your property is $100,000, you want to make sure you get $1,000 of rent every month. That's 1%. And if you can get that, you can actually probably do pretty well on the rental property game. At least that's what people show you. Now, what actually happens is a little bit different. So I had two properties I sold today. I'm going to show you guys some pictures. Let's see here. So I will show you guys some pictures here. Good, got it up there. So this was my first house I ever bought. I bought it in 2014. I was just starting my nursing career. So, making about I think it was 45,000 a year in 2014, which that might not sound like much depending on where you live, but in Oklahoma, that's actually a pretty good wage. So I was able to purchase this house with a VA loan. So VA loans, there's really no money down. You just have to pay for the closing costs, maybe some fees there. So I didn't have to put any money down. And this house I got for like $113,000 or something like that. It's built in 2004. So it was okay, for a starter home as a 3-bed, 2-bath. But when I got out of my nurse practitioner program, I actually decided I could sell this right now. Probably wouldn't make a whole lot, or I could turn it into a rental. And I had a friend from church. She actually rented the property from me. So, that was really good. I forgot how much she paid. I gave her kind of a sweetheart deal. So just like $750 a month kind of thing. So really, really nice deal for her. And, she moved out. I had a hailstorm come in. It actually wrecked some parts of the house. But luckily I had good insurance. So I got I got a pretty good size lump sum payment for that. I decided I wanted to sell the house. So we negotiated some repairs. I fixed the roof. I fixed the siding there, and I managed to pocket quite a bit of that insurance payment, and then plus we sold at a price, and then I also got some profit off that. So that was really, really nice. That was a good house to me. Real estate's one of those things where you can make a lot of money in real estate. And, part of the reason why I got a little bit lucky too, I was able to sell at a profit, was because really this real estate market is hot. So that house, I don't want to say how much I sold it for, but I sold it for a decent profit. So that was kind of nice. So I'll show you another house I sold. Okay. This one's a little shabbier because I didn't live there, but this house I actually bought for $75,000. So I put a down payment. It was more than 20%. And I did that just to make sure I got more cash flow, because it's an older property. There's things that could break and things like that. And it's kind of a nice little house in kind of an older area of Midwest City. This was like recently remodeled, and so that's kind of nice to, it's got some sort of interior appeal that people would want to rent from. But really, this house was kind of a poor investment for me. I feel like this is what they don't tell you on YouTube. It's like you get all these expenses that popped up. And like, I think every 2 months I would get a call about some repair. Some were minor, $100. Some were huge. Like I had to fix, I think a snowstorm came through and wrecked a part of the roof. And I was like $2,000. So, $2,000 can really, basically, a couple of repairs like that, you're not making any profit on that house for a whole year. And that's kind of what the problem was. And there was another problem we found with that house, that was a big potential issue. And I was fed up at that point. I was thinking I was going to lose a bunch of money. But thankfully, because of how hot the real estate market was, this house was worth a lot more than what I paid for it. So we were able to negotiate down where, the buyer bought it for a smaller price than what it was going for, what the market value was, in exchange for they fix all the repairs, they deal with that mess. And so that's how I got out of that one. And that's, got all my money back with some profit. So that was really, really nice as well. Ismail, £5 donation. Hey, thank you, man. I really appreciate that. Let's go over some questions. I will also go over some rental property analysis, because I think that can be really interesting. I'm not saying you should do real estate, but if you ever had that thought, then maybe this can help you a little bit. Gooseneck says, the day of rental properties is gone. Thanks, government. More homeless. Yeah, definitely. Depending on where you live. Like these houses are kind of in the Midwest. That's where I live. So you can still buy a house, and even buy a good rental property. So, okay. Liam says, Dan, liked your last stream, dude. Hardcore selling your properties into OMI. Not all of it, right? Are you talking about my properties? So with the proceeds, a lot of it will probably go into OMI. Some of it I'll probably just set aside for other things, but I'm going to dollar cost average into some other crypto. Ismail says he doesn't got any properties, but I sold my classic car to buy a few OMI. That's great, man. That's I think that's that could be a really good investment. Jordan says, how old are you? I am 36 years old. I think people sometimes are surprised by that. David says, talk about OMI. Okay, let's talk a little bit about OMI here. Gooseneck says, you could not get a chicken coop. You could not get a chicken coop at NYC for less than 800,000. Yeah, that's the thing, is you don't buy rental properties there because it's too expensive and the rent is too low compared to how much you put into it. So, Horse on Jupiter says, Boston is so expensive to buy a house. Definitely. Coin Daddy says, hey, thank you for your donation, bro. Appreciate that. Getting into real estate after taking profit later. Been house hacking my 4-bed house for 4 years. Mortgage pays itself. Stressful, but doable. Man, that's the way to do it. Had I known about that, well, I kind of did that. I think it's kind of intuitive to house hack, right? It's like you buy a house, like assuming you're one person, right? Or your wife or significant other doesn't care. It's kind of intuitive to buy a house and rent out some of the rooms, to people you like that you can tolerate. But that's a great way to live mortgage free, I guess, for you. In California, it's really difficult. But man, kudos to you, man. I mean, that can really set you up. Your tenants are basically paying your mortgage there. So Stephen asks, are you invested in XRP? I'm not invested in our XRP. I am not. I kind of kicked myself a little bit because I remember back in like 2013, 2014 timeframe. Was it 2013? I think it was around that time. XRP was like 2 cents, trading at 2 or 3 cents. I wouldn't know where to buy it, but I was trading at 2 or 3 cents. Jonathan New says, hi, I have a question if you want to do some quick Q&A. In many countries, after holding crypto for 1 year, it becomes tax-free. Do you expect a big dump exactly 1 year after the 0.0011 crash? I don't. I think that's such an individualistic decision that I don't. You're basically saying that you're implying a couple things, right? That a bunch of people bought at that price, or they held it for a year and they're going to cash out their gains. And I think some will, but I don't think it'll be like that. I don't think that will happen at all, man. So hope that helps you, man. Nicholas, thank you, man. Appreciate that. I really do. Smash the likes, people. You might see Omi Moon. Appreciate that. Airman Gonzo says, I'm house hacking as an E4. Comes in clutch. Yeah, you get that sweet BA. Is it BAH? Yeah, BAH. You get that sweet BAH money, man. That makes sense too. So how are you able to live off post as an E4? You married? Maybe that's what it is. Logic Spear says, you're either a legend or a loser. Either way, I'm front row watching. Good luck, homie. Thank you. Financial news and views. What's up, Dan? Congrats on the house closing. Yeah, I appreciate that. I've been waiting for these houses to close, so that's pretty nice that was able to happen. So that's good. Hey, I liked your video where you talked about Andre Jick a little bit. Everyone seems to be talking about the Andre Jick thing. So Niall says, what was your first ever investment? Stocks. Basic. It's kind of like how a lot of people get their start. I think it's just basic investments. Roble, congrats. Hey, thanks, man. Hey, thanks for giving out those OMI tokens for the community. You do a lot of good stuff on Twitter, man. Jordan says, as a young 26-year-old, what's my first step to getting a house when these markets are crazy? Yeah, that's a little tough. It's good if you're selling. It's kind of a seller's market. That's the problem. I don't know if this is very popular to say, but I personally wouldn't buy a house in a market like this unless you absolutely had to. I would probably try to rent, man. And also that depends on where you live. Oklahoma, the market is hot, but it's not like crazy hot. Like no one's like super outbidding each other because really no one wants to live in Oklahoma. It's not like California or New York where everyone wants to live there. Poppy FX says, hope OMI goes down a bit so you can stack those tokens. Greetings from Germany. Hey, you're 16 years old, man. I remember you saying that on one of the comments. Kudos to you for having that OMI stack, bro. I think that's really forward thinking of you. You might be one of the smartest 16-year-olds I know. Yeah, I want to say that I think everyone's been talking about a crash. I think we're due for a major correction. So I can see that happening. But on the flip side, the Fed is pumping so much money into the economy that it's kind of artificially keeping us alive. Let's talk about OMI a little bit. Vinicius says, what's your thoughts on the migration to Immutable and whether or not the number of tokens in the reserve wallet will decrease? So they've talked about this. They're not going to change the tokenomics in any way for the Immutable migration. I personally don't. I think they realize they have so many tokens, but what I think they'll do is I don't think they'll artificially just get rid of a bunch of tokens. What I think they'll do is they'll create ways to incentivize people to burn tokens from circulating supply. That's what I think they'll do. And I also believe when they finally sell land, they're going to have a massive land sale, and you can use your OMI to buy land, and that's going to burn a bunch of tokens. Or if you use fiat, I think they'll just burn from the reserve supply like they've been doing. So, Airman says, not married. I just told my something that I'm going to buy a house. Your master sergeant, I guess. Got out of the dorm in 7 months. Good for you, man. That's the way to do it. I know a lot of people that are in the military. That every time they switch duty stations, they'll buy a house, and then when they move in 2 or 3 years, they'll just rent it out. And that could be really good too, just depending on where you live. Jonathan says, if you have a ton of cash and want to buy a house, doesn't it make sense to use the yearly percentage to pay it off instead of the actual money? Because in the end, you'll have both original money and a house. I kind of don't understand your question, but I never buy my houses in cash. I mean, I use loans. So that's kind of the better way to do it. I have 40 million OMI. I'm really all in this coin. Nice, man. Nice. What happens in WOMI during the swap? You will probably, I don't know if you know, I don't know if you can do this. I'm actually haven't used Uniswap before, but you have to unswap them because WOMI won't migrate over. So you'll have to unswap them in some way. So let's go over some property analysis bit here. Let's take this last comment. Gooseneck says, nobody is paying rent in New York for the last 2 years. I would wait. If you're thinking about buying a house, big discounts coming. Inside info. Okay. So let's do some basic property analysis. I think this might be useful for people who are possibly interested in buying a house. So this is a property. I bought it for $86,000. You see that here. Well, I mean, that's the purchase price, $86,000. And as you can see here, it meets the 1% rule because it's more than 1% of the property, the rent is. And my down payment was like $17,000, and I financed it for $68,000. And closing costs, that's general estimate of how much closing costs can be. So I put down about $23,000 to close on that property in terms of closing costs and my down payment. And my cash on cash return, so the cash I put in versus the cash I get every year, is 9.6%, which is pretty good. And the rent to value ratio is 1.13, which, like I said, is pretty good. So expenses, my mortgage and stuff is about $328. Property tax, $129 a month. Insurance, about $59 a month. Property management fee, $78 a month. No tenant fee. So combine that together, I didn't add it up, but okay. So I also calculated a vacancy allowance. You know, it takes time to put a new tenant in there, so you want to pay for that. So I did a high vacancy allowance and a high repair allowance, 10%. Most people will say this should be 5%, but that's not realistic. And that's how these YouTubers, these influencers will get you. They'll make it look so easy, but really vacancy and repairs will kill you. So you really want to budget more and be pleasantly surprised versus shocked when that bill comes through. So where's my cash flow number there in my sheet? So remember, I have a super duper inflated repair allowance and stuff like that. So my profit or loss is $185 a month. Yeah. But let's say if you reduce that even a little bit, do what the influencers tell you, even though this is not reality. See how your numbers can change. Bam, all of a sudden you're making $283 a month. You know, and you have, let's say you have 20 properties just like that. I mean, then it's like, well, look, actually, let's just, for easy math, let's just do 10. So let's say you have 10 properties that make you $283 a month. How much is that? It's like, $283 a $36,000 a year or something like that. Something like that. And imagine if you have 20 properties like that, then you're bringing home $72,000 a month, and your properties are worth more every single year, and you get that pay down. So let's say you have these houses for 30 years, they're all going to be paid off, and you're going to be making money hand over fist. So that's the attractive thing about real estate sometimes. Airman says, I'm in Las Vegas. I'm already here waiting for all of you to visit during our only meetup at 10 cents. Yeah, I can't wait for a party, man. I mean, I'm just in the mood hopefully the illness thing is over. Just going to a party with all you guys with a lot of money in our pocket because we were smart, and just having a grand old time. I mean, I think that'd be awesome, man. Ismail says, what is your opinion about the idea of infinite burning? I think it's theoretical. I don't think anyone was going to do that in practice, right? Because there's fees. There's fees people will have to pay. Why would you just continually buy and sell these collectibles knowing that you're losing money because of fees? I mean, you're banking on these collectibles being worth more every single time, but that's kind of a bubble-like thinking. I don't think anyone's going to do this in practice. I mean, it's interesting. I like what essentially crypto did because it's an interesting thought. He's actually a really smart dude, but I don't think there's any real world ramifications here. Pedro says, I'm ready for the 5 cents party. Yeah, I'm ready for a 5 cent party too. I think we should just plan for a realistic party, like a 5 cent party, because if we do a 1 cent party, I mean, really no one's super, I mean, unless you're like Randy Chavez, no one's super rich at 1 cent, right? I mean, it depends how much you have, but the vast majority of people aren't rich. But, if you got 5 cents, you can sell a little bit of that OMI, get a little bit of cash, and go have a blast at a 5 cent party. Ski party in Austria at $1. Austria is a tough sell, man. A real tough sell. Maybe have to do the UK or something. Austria, I heard, is very beautiful, though. Stevie, how's it going, man? Love what you're doing for the French community. You're doing something that not a lot of the Ecomi YouTubers are doing because of the whole language barrier thing. Ismail says, WTF, you are selling your properties and I'm buying OMI for buying one. Yeah, well, they're rentals, so it's a little bit different. I'm not selling my main property, my home. So Robo says, I'm ready for a 5 cent party too. Are you from the UK, man? Or like the US? But yeah, I'm ready for a 5 cent party. I mean, what do you guys think? Would you rather go somewhere cool like New York? Probably, right? New York, Las Vegas, London. That'd be really cool, though. Definitely not happening this year, and the way the illness is going around, definitely not happening next year either. It's so crazy. The world is upside down right now. Stevie says, let's go to Dubai. That's an expensive place, man. I think it has to be more than 10 cents to go to Dubai, if you ask me. But Dubai would be cool. It would be really cool. Robo, we can do that. Are you getting the bottle service? Do you expect a big pump if Ecomi gets listed on Binance? Yes, I do. I expect the price to at least double. Whatever it's at, I expect it to double. Superman says, hey, I'm in Kansas. I'm ready for a 5 cent party in Oklahoma. As obviously Oklahoma is not a sexy place. I don't see a lot of people flying from overseas to go to an Oklahoma party, but I mean, we can just have a regional Midwest party, because people from Texas can come up, people from Kansas can come down. It's you can drive there. It's not going to be expensive. If you want to, you can fly. That'll be real cheap. That might be cool. Lambo party at $1, definitely. Just coming in. Hey, you finally got off that conference call. Just coming in. Did you get your mission accomplished? If you're talking to me, yes, I did. Ooh, this is good. Davis Trans says, update, altcoin daily did a video including the OMI token. Let me check that out. Just now? Is it their 5 coins of 5 million? Probably that one. Check that out. Does it actually say, let's see if they talk about it. Ooh, they did. They did. Interesting. Man, that's how you know things are picking up, man. Like the other YouTubers are starting to talk about Ecomi a little bit more. You know, obviously you're not going to talk about a coin that's dumping. And I think 3 months ago, no one wanted to talk about it because the price was crashing. Didn't even have Marvel. There was just a bunch of rumors, you know, but now people are starting to see. We have Marvel. We are slowly getting out of the dumps we're in terms of price. So a lot of good things happening. I'll have to check out that video later. Thanks, Davis. Robo, I'm in the Washington, D.C. area, one of the most expensive places in the United States. Awesome, man. Good for you. At what OMI prices are you going to start selling? I've always said I'm not going to sell, but I talked to one of the viewers from the last stream and on Twitter, and he made a case that I should take some profit. So I think that's good. I mean, when you look at a chart, I mean, assuming you know, I mean, it assumes a lot. It assumes you can actually pick the tops and the bottoms. But you know, if you can find times when it rallies to sell and take profit, that's good. And then when it slowly dips down, if it corrects, you know, you can buy back in. I mean, I know that's what a lot of big time players are doing, but that's just not something I feel comfortable with. But I will have to learn to get over that. But I don't know. I think, you know, let's look at the OMI chart here and let's kind of think about things a little bit. Okay, classic OMI chart, right? We all know this. But like, let's even look at the 7-day. I think this is a classic example. I think a lot of us knew that when it was pumping, that it was going to come down. I mean, I know FOMO is strong, and I know on another stream I was talking about maybe I need to raid my emergency funds to get into some OMI at these levels because it might push up past the 5-0 level and go into price discovery mode, and then we don't know where the price is. But I managed to not do that, and obviously that was smart because it has plummeted. And there's a lot of reasons, right? You know, part of it's a correction. Part of it was the flash crash that also plummeted our price. We didn't know a flash crash was coming, but I think a lot of people knew when it was rising, that's only a matter of time before it dumped. And if you were smart, if you had sold at any one of these reasonable prices, you know, you could have sold here and made profit. You could have called the top and made some profit, but most likely it would have been somewhere like here when it starts to go down, or here, or even here. You could have made profit, right? You could have made a, you know, 0.0, you know, you could have made a decent amount of profit. So that is a strategy you could do with Ecomi. And another strategy you could do is buy the rumor, sell the news. That's really applies well with Ecomi. And it's backed by a lot of price movements. I mean, if you know a big announcement is coming, if you stay up to date with the AMAs and things like that, you could do a strategy where, you know, you start buying whenever it dips, when sentiment is really low. Like I bought some at the 2-0 level, and then you wait to a pump like this, you know, Marvel, I think that was Marvel, and you sell there, you would have doubled your money. And then, you know, it corrects, it goes down. Maybe you bought somewhere down here again. You wait for a good opportunity, and then it pumps. You could have sold there, and you could have really 2 great trading opportunities, maybe even 3 great trading opportunities for you to double your holdings or double your money. Now, that is a strategy you could do. Thing is, I'm not a trader, so I usually don't talk about things like that. It's not something I do. To be honest, I'm busy with my own life, with my professional life, with my family life. I'm too busy to do things like this, and I generally am a little bit more conservative in that realm. But that's something you could do. Where was I at? Okay. Altcoin Daily just mentioned Omi on the last video he uploaded 30 minutes ago. Thank you. We will check that out. I won't play it here just for copyright or something. But Niall says all the big cities sound expensive AF. That's the thing. I want a place that's a little bit cheaper for a lot of people. You know, the thing about, I've been to New York. Everything is expensive there, man. I mean, parking is expensive. Hotels are expensive. Lyfts, Ubers are expensive. It's like you get your butt handed to you both ways. But if you're going there for vacation, that's one thing. But I am a little bit more frugal. So actually, funny story. When I went on my Hawaii trip last year in October, I was like, oh, I'm not going to get a rental car because we won't drive that much. So we're going to take a lot of Ubers. And we were, you know, and she was pregnant at the time. And, you know, sometimes the Ubers are a little bit too expensive. You know, even though I have a good salary, I still have a frugal mindset. But sometimes I was like, hey, let's just do something fun and get these municipal bikes that you can rent, and we'll bike there. And, you know, it'll be like $10 for 2 bikes to rent. And let's just go around. And she said, okay. And I was having a blast, like forgetting that she's pregnant. And I'm like riding this bike, you know, just having a fun time. You know, you're in Hawaii, you're on a bike, you're seeing some cool stuff. And she's huffing and puffing. And she's pretty fit. She's a fitness instructor. She teaches like, that's her part-time gig is she's a physician assistant by day and then like a Zumba instructor or dance instructor by night kind of thing. And so she's really fit, and she was huffing and puffing because she's pregnant. She was so pissed at me. And so she was so tired, and we ended up parking our bikes into this thing, and, you know, cashing out of our bikes basically, but we're in this sketchy part of town, like where all these homeless people are with all these tents and stuff. And she was so pissed. And in the end, we didn't save any money because we had to call an Uber to get out of there, like that sketchy area. Anyways, point I'm trying to make is cities are expensive, man. Stevie says, what's your break-even Omi price so far? You know, I've gotten 80% of my tokens were bought at about anywhere between the 2.0 to the 3.0 level. My most expensive and smallest purchase was like at 8.0. So I'm really thinking that my cost base is more at the 3.5 level. So I think I've broken even at this point, which is good. DD Jr. says, hi, Dan. Do you believe because Omi had the correction following the BTC one means Omi is not bear market proof? I don't like talking about the bear market proof stuff. I usually avoid questions, but I think you've asked this multiple times, so we will address it. The thing about Omi right now is when Bitcoin dumps, Omi is correlated. But sadly, when Bitcoin pumps, it's not correlated. So when you think about that excuse me, still got this mild cold. When you think about that absolutely blows, man. So I think there is going to come a point. And also what I'll say is this, sometimes Omi pumps because of its own news, right? Marvel, Immutable migration. So sooner or later, and I don't know when, but probably not this year, but maybe sometime next year, we will start to see Omi being uncorrelated and not attached to Bitcoin. So in terms of not bear market proof. Now, the thing about the bear market, I don't believe in the super cycle thing really that much at all. So I don't believe that we're mysteriously going to have a bear market in October or the end of this year, even though that has been a cycle. I don't believe that past events can predict future events directly like that. So there's that. I think depending on what's causing the bear market, for example, if Wall Street dumps like a 2008 dump of a real estate crash, anything like that, OMI is going to dump to a certain extent. I don't think anything is bear market proof. Very few things are, truly. So if there's a wide scale dump, it will affect OMI. I know they've talked about how OMI is bear market proof. It's not proof, it's defense. There's bear market defenses. The defenses being the natural buybacks and burns, and also the fact it's backed by a business and things like that. It's deflationary by nature. So I hope that answers your question. Those are just some thoughts. I personally believe nothing is bear market proof. I know someone donated quite a bit of money, so I need to address that. Austin, man, holy cow, dude. Man, I don't even know what to say. That is so much money. Well, hey, man, I know you donated last time. You donated $200 to my channel a while back. I really appreciate it, man. You must be in tech or something or independently wealthy, but I really appreciate that. All your proceeds are going to go towards the channel. I really appreciate that, bro. Really appreciate that. It means a lot. Do you think 1 cent will be met with a huge resistance due to the amount of people selling at their break-even point? Just a psychological number in general, 100 million OMI equals 1 million USD. Yeah, I do. I do. Because even look at our sheet now. I know this is not a formal sheet, but let's just use this to kind of answer your question. Man, I'm still tripping over that money, man. Thank you, man. So 1 cent is going to be a huge barrier. And when you think about it, even 50 cents, or excuse me, not 50 cents, 0.0050 is a huge psychological barrier we've never touched. If you look at this, we've kind of never broken past that. I don't think we've even, well, depending on what exchange, we might have touched it and then never really broken through in a major way. So that's going to be a huge psychological level. And part of it is because it's half of a penny. So that's huge right there, right? I mean, you can just see this. Technical analysis is not hard. It doesn't predict the future like people make it sound like it does, but it does have a lot of good things here. So this is pretty easy to see, right? It's going to be hard to break through this. It's the same thing here. I mean, I know it's broken through, but I do predict that 1 cent will be very hard to break through because I think a lot of people cashed in, and maybe there's a lot of people that are holding that are sick of OMI, tired of it, tired of the BS. There's a lot of people out there that feel that way. That can make it also hard. They might try to psychologically just want to break even, just get all their money back. That could be difficult. But the thing is, what I will say is, when it starts pushing up, there's a reason why it's getting back to a cent. Something cool is happening, right? Immutable migration, burn utility, VVverse. Maybe VVverse is cooler than we think. There's so many things that could drive us past the 1 cent. And I think once we break 1 cent, once we really break some of these levels here, it'll be in price discovery mode and we will not know what the value of OMI will be. Look at Solana, right? It's trading at Solana is kind of a little bit of a different story. There's a different reason why it's pumping. But when things are in price discovery mode, it's good for us. It's good for us who've held for so long. I mean, look at Solana, even just the 1 month chart is, let's just look at this. It's trading at this range. There's something that pushes it up and then it just blows up. That's what price discovery mode looks like. The market is trying to find what this thing is valued at, and it's hard sometimes. It's really hard sometimes. So price discovery mode will be good for us when it happens. Again, hey, I really appreciate your donation there. I actually feel a little bit uncomfortable, but I really appreciate your donation, man. Are you big into OMI? Just out of curiosity, if you want to answer that. Okay. Zachar says, is your wife annoyed yet that you keep spending all this time this week doing this? Well, right now she's teaching a class and the baby's asleep. So, no, I try to, that's why my schedule is kind of hazy sometimes. Because on one hand, my work schedule is not very consistent. And on the other hand, I have times when I can stream and times I can't, but she does get annoyed at it, but she knows I'm passionate about it. She knows I'm really enjoying it. And things like a $500 donation from Austin will definitely make her be like, oh, okay. Yeah. So I might donate some of that. That's just so much money, man. But I really appreciate that. I don't know. Maybe we'll do a giveaway or something. There is some new equipment I want to buy. I was going to buy with this month's ad revenue, but we'll see. But man, I really appreciate it. I might have to put your name somewhere, like to memorialize in memory of your donation. I need to do something like that. So I might look into that. Let me find your username there again, Austin. Okay. Moto says, who sells property for crypto? I do. Mostly because I realize that being a landlord is not all that it's cut up to be, even though I'm not managing, even though I don't talk to the tenant. Just things like, hey, we have another expense. This broke. It's like, why did this broke? Why did this break? Were they negligent? What happened? And one of my properties that I showed you that had a lot of issues, it was like that every single couple months. This broke, this broke, this broke, this broke. It just got, I was sick of that. Sick of that. Sandra says, can you please save your live streams? Yeah, from what I understand, you can watch the live streams. I don't hide them or anything like that. It should be available as soon as the live stream is over. I don't have a price, but I will sell half my coins in 2030, no matter which price. I know your age. I won't call you out, or at least the age you told me. So, that's a good time to sell. Hey, man, like you never know. You might be a millionaire in 10 years with your attitude, man. Really good stuff. None of us will care what the Uber costs when it comes to 10 cents exactly. But I still think 5 cents could be really good, just good for the community building. And, I'm going to host a virtual party. I know that that's not the same as actually having a real party. I'm going to host a virtual party when we get closer to 1 cent. So hopefully it'll be sometime this year with Kyle Wilson. Genghis Khan Crypto, morning. How's it going, man? I saw your comment on my video, by the way. Sometimes I do these videos early in the morning, and so like I don't have the energy. I'm generally kind of chill in general until something excites me. And so sometimes I'll film my videos first thing in the morning and I'm a little tired and I don't know. That's Austin from Altcoin Daily. Oh, what? Stevie says, well deserved, bro. You give so much value to the Akomi family. Yeah. I am starting to get this imposter syndrome, I realize, because, I started this channel in April 28th, I think was my first. I did a video, some couple of videos before, but I erased them. They weren't crypto related. But so when you think about it, August 28th, May, June, July, August, September. I've only really been doing this for less than 5 months. So sometimes I feel like, well, I'm just a guy that is passionate about OMI and crypto in general. And I think it'll do wonders for us. So I definitely have some imposter syndrome sometimes, but that's fine. The only way to get over imposter syndrome is to continue doing something. Like your channel is good, man. I wish I could understand some of it. French is a beautiful language. Dina says Dan is the best OMI YouTuber, honest guy. I really feel like we all have something to bring, but I appreciate that. Austin says, please don't do that. Okay. I think I get it. Gonzalo says, greetings and excellent analysis on OMI. Do you think OMI could be listed on Binance soon? To be honest, there's no real evidence that Binance is, to put a time frame on Binance. Binance is coming, but most likely it will be after the mutable migration. I'm actually surprised we had that OKX exchange. But when you look at the OKX exchange, it didn't really pop the price like people were thinking. It really didn't. It might have went up a little bit. It might have been going up a little bit before that, but it really didn't pop the price like we thought. So, I mean, on one hand, we need exchanges, but not to pop the price in the short term. That's what I think people get so obsessed over, the exchanges, thinking it's the magic bullet that's going to pop us to 2 cents, 3 cents, 4 cents, 5 cents. It's not. It's just not. Long term, we need it for liquidity to kind of dilute the whales a little bit so people can't manipulate the prices easily. But that's the benefit of the exchanges. I mean, we are going to see a big pump a little bit with Binance and Coinbase, where I'm expecting that a Binance or Coinbase listing double the price minimum of whatever it's at. So if we're at 1 cent, hopefully I'll pop us to 2 cents. You have to understand we are undervalued. We are an undervalued project. Richard said, I agree. I was about to sell my bag, but ended up watching a video of his that stopped me. Well, I appreciate that, man. I really believe this, not financial advice, but don't sell at least until the end of the year. See what all this news will bring and what that will do to the price. If all this news we have coming up in the pipeline and we're still here sitting at the 3.7 level, yeah, then maybe I'm going to be, well, there will have to be a reason for that, but I will definitely be really irritated for sure. And really, we have to question. We always should question our investments. Are we doing the right thing? I became sold on OMI when Marvel was finally announced. Because on one hand, we knew that Marvel was coming, just like we know Disney is coming, Star Wars is coming, and we know Pokemon is coming. But it's different from knowing it could come or there's a high chance it will come to it's here. So, well, anyways, I don't know where I was going with that sometimes, but I appreciate that my video was helpful for you in some way. Anything happening with the marketing? No. They've talked about it on an AMA, and Reese has said, why do marketing or why really spend the money, the cash? The cash is coming from somewhere. It's coming from those sales on OMI or on marketing when really we're doing so well. And I kind of get that. The YouTubers out there were really pushing out a lot of stuff. They're doing AMAs. I mean, I've said this on the other stream, there's not enough content to support the mass media marketing. You'd have to spend millions of dollars on marketing. Why would you do that to get content that sells out in seconds? There's not enough content. The comic sold out in 15 seconds or something. So why would you, introduce more people when it's selling out like hotcakes now? Maka says, create a leaderboard on Backwall for top 20 donations. I'll have to check that out. I'm definitely gonna put his name on here because he's given me $700 altogether between 2 streams. So I will have to put his name up there. Again, I really appreciate it. It's going to be used for the channel. Chad says, I think we need more rational rhetoric in the OMI community. There's too much OMI to $10 and OMI is going down and too risky stuff happening. That's why I watch you for a sense of sanity. I put out a video today. It was about the Andre Jick thing. And this always triggers me. And I don't know why it triggers me, but it just does. But when people are like, hey, don't put that title up there. It's too much FUD. That really pisses me off. I don't know why it does. Out of all the comments, most comments I don't even blink about. But comments like that really trigger me. And I hope this doesn't get out so you guys all start doing comments like that, but it really pisses me off. Like, my channel name is my name, Daniel Lee. It's my opinions. I love Omi. I love Ecomi. I love Vivi. I think it's going to make us millionaires. I really do believe that. So if I occasionally do something that's a little bit negative, perceived to be negative, that doesn't mean it's FUD. It's just my opinion. Golly, they act like I put one somewhat negative video out and that's going to tank the market, which is ridiculous. None of my videos, I've never seen a correlation between me putting a video out and the price going up or down. It's not going to matter. It's too big for one YouTuber. And sooner or later, it's not going to matter. Even if someone like Andre Jick says he's not kind of not like an Omi for whatever reason, sooner or later, something like that's not even going to matter. It's not going to affect it. It's going to be mainstream, kind of like Solana or something, in terms of popularity and impact and price. So I appreciate that. They're really my thoughts, like the whole $10 Omi thing. Look, I like Cavell. I think I don't agree with that. And you can agree and still be cordial with people. I like Cavell. I still watch a lot of his videos, but $10, I mean, crazy things would have to happen for it to hit $10. I mean, I make the case that 99% of the circulating supply would have to be gone for us to have a reasonable chance at hitting $10. Elon Musk would have to talk about Ecomi, or he would have to treat Omi like Doge before we hit that, Genghis, you're a huge fan. I think you're one of my early watchers too, man. Early viewers. Airman says you can't get home warranty for rental properties. Yeah, you can, but they only cover certain things. Like I told you, I said earlier that about the roof damage. Home warranty is not covering that. And the thing about home warranties is you'll pay like $500, $600 a year. And then you pay for a service. You have to pay for the service call. It's typically anywhere from, depending on the plan, $50 to $100. And they will just fix the part. They will never replace it. So if you got a hot water heater that breaks, which usually costs $1,000, $2,000 to fix or replace, they'll just nickel and dime it, put $200 to fix it. But at the end of the day, you still have a old water heater that needs to be replaced eventually. So I did have a home warranty on one of the properties, but it didn't cover everything. It's great to have sometimes, but it's in the long term, you lose out because you could have put that $500, $600 into actually replacing things. Sometimes things just need to be replaced, not repaired. Comics are selling like hotcakes. Yeah, I like the comics a lot. I don't think they'll do this, but I wish they would put modern comics. But I think this is a collectible thing, so they won't put out like the newest Star Wars comics or anything like that, I think. Crawford says you can buy property in Vivi and never have anything break. Are you planning on heavily investing in Vivi versus land in the future? Yes, I am. I mean, depending on how they do it. If it's like other metaverses where like Decentraland, things like that, I will definitely buy not a lot of land. I want to be diversified, but I'll buy a little bit land just because for bragging rights, and it'll be cool. But also just because that land value can go up crazy. I mean, land could be a huge investment. Lawn Mowing Journey says, I'm missing those comedy skits. I think in order for me to eventually have a shot at going mainstream, I kind of need to get rid of those little skits. And they were becoming a little bit too stressful. I felt like there was too much pressure to do something funny. And some people were getting offended at some of my skits. Even though I'm Asian, I made an Asian skit, like Asian stereotype, but somehow that was offensive. Whatever. Disney takeover is the only X factor. Yeah, I've talked to some of the other influencers about that, and we had some good discussions, but all in all, I think even if Disney were to buy out Ecomi, I don't think it would be bad necessarily. I don't think they would get rid of the token or anything like that. I think it would be a good thing, not a bad thing. What are you most grateful for in your life right now? Man, honestly, things are really good. My job is really good. My wife's job is really good. We have a nice home. We have a baby who's healthy. We have a good relationship. I'm happy. This YouTube thing is kicking, is doing well. So everything, really, everything in my life is going really well. And there was a point in my life in 2005 timeframe where I was really, really depressed. So I never thought about anything like that, but I definitely was really depressed at one point, a long time ago when I was in college. And you never want to do something drastic like that because you never know how awesome life could be in the future. When you're in the throes of depression, you can never see what the future could be. You only see like the negative. But if you're able to get through it, life can be really great. And I've never been depressed ever since, really. So I'm pretty happy about that. Could you please talk about the whole altcoin situation compared with now? Because I felt that it is different, just like the industry is different. It is different now. I feel like there's a lot of greed in the market right now because, even the other influencers talk about it. They'll talk about how, it's the altcoin. It's time for the altcoin bull market because people are getting so greedy that Bitcoin is too slow for them that they're putting it into risky altcoins. Like things like have you guys ever heard of Bonfire token? It's this piece of crap token that it's kind of like the Safe Moon, but it's like Bonfire token. And anyways, I won't show you that, but it's a crap token, and people lost a lot of money there. There's too much of that in the marketplace right now. I don't like that because people know an easy way to make money is just to get a team together, design a crap token, sell it to people, and rug pull them. Have you guys heard of Million Token? Like, that's a good example. And I like Tech Lead's content a lot, but that's a perfect example of what's wrong in the marketplace right now. There's too much of this going around. And then they laugh at a legitimate project like Ecomi. It's just ridiculous. Let's look at Million Token. Million Token, big YouTube influencer pumping it. It pumped from in just a few days to 200 some odd dollars, like crazy. And then look at it now. It's worth, supposedly there's only going to be 1 million tokens and each token is intrinsically worth $1, but it's like so many altcoins have a chart that looks like this. And this is a problem. And this is why crypto is eventually going to be regulated. And you can't fight it. It's human greed. Andrew says, what's going to be your first purchase when you take some and we profit? I think I'll finally buy a Tesla. Also, I might buy, I have a gaming laptop for YouTube purposes, but I might buy state-of-the-art gaming computer, get an HTC Vive or something like that, or some VR headset, the best one, and then do that. I've been wanting to do that. I could buy it now if I wanted to, but I'm so frugal that I would rather put into Omi, Do you think Marvel will prevent collectibles from going to OpenSea? Also, on OpenSea, would they sell and get the 6% fee? This is kind of speculative, but it's hard a question to answer. But I think there's a financial incentive for them to put their collectibles on OpenSea Because what Marvel is doing with the 6% fee, it's getting paid in perpetuality. You're continually getting paid when you buy and sell things. What other thing could you do with that, in the real world application? This is kind of unheard of. When you buy something, any collectible, you own it. You can't make any more money on it. So obviously they're kind of incentivized to create a situation where every sale, and you can program it with smart contracts. There's no way to get around it. Maybe every sale to other people will perpetually make you more money. And the thing is, if you're selling it a lot, maybe the thought there is it's because it's going up in value. It's worth more. So if it's worth more, you're getting paid more than what the initial purchase price was. If something is selling, like some of these comics, if they're selling at like, I don't know, you bought it for $13, you sell it for 50, 100, 200, thousands, 10,000, you're getting 6% of that. Now, I think people are going to try to find a way to scam the system because they don't want to pay that tax. But anyways, they'll find a way to get around it, and Vivi will counter them with something that will be unpopular to the community. Like you can't just transfer it freely and do a third, you know what I mean? Right now you can transfer collectibles free, but they might have to close off that loophole if people are taking advantage of it. And people are greedy by nature. And then now we can't gift a collectible to someone. We'd have to sell it at $1. Well, I guess you could just game it that way too then, right? Is if you're trying to avoid the taxes, just sell it at you could have this third-party proxy or, escrow, and then do a deal third party. So I wonder how they'll do that. Niall says TechLeak said he backed the initial 1 million coins with his own 1 million. CoffeeZilla then proved he only put in 50K. Used all the people's invested to peg the remaining 950 to $1. Shady. Yeah, he drained the liquidity pool to look like he was putting back money. Really kind of a sketchy dude, actually, because when I first heard a million token, I almost thought about buying it. But I didn't, which probably is a good thing. And I wouldn't have put a lot of money into that anyways. So I kind of looked up to him because he's kind of a cool guy, self-made millionaire, successful in different realms. But now I look at him in a different light. But whatever. He probably made a lot of money off that. Caleb. Hey, Dan. Good to see you. Keep it up. Omi is a very legitimate project with an incredible professional team and amazing vision, sweet tokenomics, and super cool stuff. We are still very early. I agree with you. 100%. Only one link says, wow, I never thought about cashing out any of my crypto. What the best way to take profits and seeing it in my bank account? Anyways, I'll take a few more questions from you guys if you would like. I have to use the bathroom here pretty soon, so I will end the stream. I never like to go over like an hour and a half. Prefer an hour, but it was such a good time, and we got that great donation. So I'll wait a few more minutes, see if you guys have any other questions, and then we'll just end the stream. I'm hoping to do more streams because they're a lot of fun, and I feel like it's a good way to combat some FUD because people have some legitimate questions out there. I think it's a good form to get it answered. But I was going to say something. Oh, well. Anyways, guys, I'll have another video coming out pretty soon in a couple days. I got some good ideas. Some of you have sent me video ideas, and I'm going to do that. I'm going to try to improve my audio quality on some of my videos. I've realized I've got a little bit of background noise I need to get rid of. So I'm going to do more post-production, hopefully improve the quality of the videos. So Jonas says, will you leave healthcare when Omi takes off? No, healthcare is one of the things. Medicine is a cool job. It's a skill, and if you don't use it, you lose it. So if I were to not be working for 10 years, it's very hard to get back into it because medicine changes, things like that. So I might work part-time or 1 or 2 shifts a month or something, but I will always be in healthcare because it's such a cool skill to have. Someone can have a rash and show me and I can maybe treat it, or like a skin infection, or they're sick, There's a lot of cool things you can do with healthcare. Do you think your end of year price prediction of 3 to 5 cents will be met? It's 2 to 5 cents. That's my range. It's kind of my little hedge in case I'm wrong. I can say, whoa, it was in the 2 to 5 cent range. I think we're still a go. The big thing is, how is the immutable migration going to be? That's kind of a kicker. I'm hoping we get to above 0.0050 after the immutable migration, and we take off to hit 1 cent by October. If that happens, I think it's off to the races. We're definitely going to hit 2 to 5 cents by the end of the year. Soju channel. Are you Korean? Soju is like, it's like alcoholic beverage. Hey, Dan, off topic from Omi. By the way, I finally own 1 mil. I want to buy my first property. How do I start? Any suggestions? That's a big topic. But the thing is, what I would do is, there's a lot of good podcasts out there. There's a lot of good YouTube videos to kind of get you mentally in the game. I was watching and listening to a lot of podcasts and YouTube videos for a year before I first made my first purchase. In the meantime, you can save some money to get a down payment. Probably want to get a cash flowing rental property that costs $50,000 to $125,000. So you want to have at least, I think, 15 to 20 grand, excuse me, saved up for a down payment with closing costs. And just look at markets and run numbers, crunch the numbers, figure out how to financially model your properties. Like I showed you earlier today with my spreadsheet. Just do a lot of model properties. Be like, calculate how much your costs are going to be, 10% for maintenance and repairs. Excuse me, dry throat. Excuse me. Yeah, so save a down payment, do some research, listen to stuff. You can do this all at the same time. Financially model properties, find properties in your area or out of state, crunch the numbers like you're about to buy it, and see, and just do that type of analysis over and over. Go to real estate meetups. Do a lot of learning for 3 to 6 months minimum before you decide to pull a trigger. And make sure your credit and your job histories, all that stuff is all good. You can all work on this at the same time. That's the beauty of it. You can be ready to get a property in 6 to 12 months, easy. Hetman says $1 in 2028. Could be. I think $1 can be really realistic if things go well. Anyways, my throat's giving out. My throat is giving out. I'm sorry, guys. I appreciate you guys. Austin, thank you, brother, for providing that donation. That made my day, made my year. Poppy FX, love you, man. Take care. Continue doing what you're doing. You're awesome. We have good things coming. September is going to be a big month. We're going to put out a lot of content. We're going to have a lot of live streams. It's going to be fun. We're going to make money together. We're in this, man. Take care. I will see you in the next one.